Trump people like this idea of invading American cities. The only thing that I would say, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get a lot worse. And he does something and we go, "Oh my God, can you believe he did this?" And at some point, we're gonna have to just tell ourselves, "Yes, I can believe that he did this." I don't know if it's dementia, but he's suffering from some mental breakdown.
The scenes of the last few days, I never thought I would see them. Masked ICE agents rappelling from a helicopter in a Chicago building at 1 a.m., joining those barging in on the ground, knocking down doors, throwing kids and tenants out of bed and out on the street, zip tying even children. One ICE agent was overheard by a witness who was there as saying, "Fuck the children," grabbing two men in Cicero, Illinois, out of a bakery, roughing up a Chicago politician. These are scenes that more resemble Berlin in the 1930s or the Soviet or Russia today than America. Trump's plans, I think, are very simple. My thoughts were confirmed by a typically insightful Tom Etzel New York Times column. This is a rehearsal for the midterm elections. If Trump thinks there's any danger he'll lose, he's going to send in federal forces to man ballot boxes, intimidate voters, declare the Insurrection Act. In short, what Trump wants, he clearly wants this, is a civil war. And the more it's about race, the better it is. This, I think, is as outrageous as any act of a president I've ever seen. There are a few occasions when sending federal troops into a city are justified. If the governor requests that his National Guard be federalized, if we're invaded, or if local authorities are unable to enforce the law. None of those conditions exist today. They existed, for instance, in Little Rock, 70 years ago when Eisenhower sent the 101st Airborne and nationalized the Arkansas National Guard to protect children who were integrating the schools that the governor wouldn't protect. None of these conditions, as I say, are present, as the Trump-appointed judge wrote in blocking his efforts to take over Portland. And I have two conflicting thoughts on this. I want to see what you think. I really do. I fear the Republican Supreme Court may well let him get away with most anything. But I also hope and believe that most Americans really are going to turn against and even be repulsed by a thuggish police state.
Well, it's pretty clear people are repulsed by it. There's pretty much data out. And it shows only the hardcore Trump people like this idea of invading American cities. The only thing that I would say, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get a lot worse. And he does something and we go, "Oh my God, can you believe he did this?" And at some point, we're gonna have to just tell ourselves, "Yes, I can believe that he did this, and I can try as hard as I can to imagine when he's going to do that." I think they're exactly right. I think Etzel is right. I actually think J.B. Pritzker's right. I think he's suffering from some, I don't know if it's dementia, but he's suffering from some mental breakdown. And these things get progressively worse. They never get better. They never stay the same. And whatever is causing this paranoia and this megalomania and all of the other stuff that you see and manifest itself is only going to get worse. He is going to try. We know that. We've been saying on this program. It's pretty clear that this thing is starting to unravel. His polling numbers are starting to weaken. My own view is the Democrats are winning this whole budget, health and insurance extensions. They're not just winning; they're winning big time. And they're trying to figure an exit ramp out. I pretty sure they're going to lose in Virginia and New Jersey, and it's going to set off a further stampede. In the last couple of days, actually, Democrats have been as much their buffoonery as the Democratic competence been pretty good. Now, I don't think people are ready to adjust to the change in the political climate that's coming. He will adjust by getting crazier. That we know.
Yeah, and doing anything it takes. And as I say, He actively wants a civil war. I
He
mean,
definitely wants one.
that's incredible.
And he believes that those chaotic things, that those guardsmen or whoever they are, yanking people out of their homes, he thinks that's distracting people from. And he's got one massive, giant problem, and that is 70% don't approve of the economy. No one thinks he's done anything to combat the cost of living, which was his singular campaign promise. And sometimes I worry that we got to talk about all the crazy things that he's doing. But I think the real political damage, the political diabetes, if you will, or the political high blood pressure that's just sitting there every second of every minute of every hour of every day, causing him unbelievable pain, is the fact that people feel economically insecure in their jobs. And the Fed just came back with a survey that said that people expect inflation to go up and jobless numbers to go up. So I think so. We're sitting here as commentators saying, how do you not react to invading cities? By the same token, he thinks that is certainly better for him than you thinking about what prices are at the supermarket. So
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. I really don't. But
Well, I don't think it's going to work. You know, inexplicably, I told you this. I said I didn't know why the hell I did it. I watched 4.5 hours of Attorney General Pam Bondi testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee. It was a masterful performance of duplicity, dishonesty, insults, and invective. She didn't want to or couldn't answer questions about the Justice Department's actions, to put it charitably. Why are they covering up some information about sexual predator Jeffrey Epstein? Why did they drop a case of now border czar Tom Homan taking 50 grand in a grocery bag from FBI undercover agents last year, promising that he'd get contracts if Trump is elected? What happened to that money? I mean, James, that's federal money. And we have she wouldn't tell us what she knew about it. She wouldn't tell us if she was involved in dropping the case. She wouldn't tell us what happened to the money that Tom Homan took. What role did Bondi play in the Trump-ordered indictment of former FBI Director James Comey? Won't tell us. What was her involvement in firing the FBI and national security agents? She wouldn't answer any of that. Instead, she insulted Democratic senators, and the Republican lapdogs just took it, and tried to change the subject to Biden's misdeeds, which is sort of like comparing jaywalking to assault and battery or, murder.
okay, she goes in there. First of all, they have pictures of notes. Somebody said, when you get in there, you say this.
Right.
You don't ever answer that question. You attack them. They gave them an attack line for any of the Democrats. All right. It's not going to change. And by the way, she, in her mind, thinks she did great. And she is being told by the only person that she cares about that she was just stunningly good. They were high-fiving her in the West Wing.
Well,
Okay?
that's right. The two people that she reports to, her handlers, are Stephen Miller and Donald Trump. And they were ecstatic last night.
Look, to people that watch this, it's the Attorney General of the United States, August high position that's been held by, this person or that person, done this and that and everything else. And she has nothing but contempt for these senators. She expresses nothing. Of course, those Republican senators had to sit there and watch her berate these Democratic senators. And of course, they couldn't say anything. It was a tutorial in changing the subject, being rude. She's not very smart, and she knows she's not very smart. All right. And that just leads her to be more boisterous, more following orders, more just going off the four corners of page that she has in front of her telling her what to say. We're never going to get anything different, ever.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I remember, I'm old enough to have been here when Nixon's attorney general was John Mitchell, who was deservingly indicted and sent to prison. But the Bondi regime in only 9 months is worse. It really is worse. Mitchell was smarter, and on occasion he stood up and followed the law. She'll never do that unless Trump tells her to. Highly unlikely. Moreover, there were some very able assistant attorney generals back then. William Ruckelshaus, future Supreme Court Justice Rehnquist, who I didn't agree with, but he certainly was competent and smart. Bondi, as bad as she is surrounded by nothing but hacks. And as we said a moment ago, her handler, she does everything he orders her to do. Certainly does everything Trump orders, but Stephen Miller is really running the Justice Department. And no one would confuse Stephen Miller with William Ruckelshaus.
Okay, so Bondi is put in because she doesn't know the law. That's why she's in there.
Right.
She is stupid. They know she's stupid. She knows she's stupid. And that's part of the whole thing. They don't want anyone that has any kind. Well, the law, it doesn't interfere with what she does because she has no fucking idea of what the law is. All right. She
Yeah,
just
remember she said she was going to prosecute hate speech. And even, some of the right wingers said, wait a minute, wait just a minute. That's, hate speech is not unless it threatens someone. She didn't know. She had no idea.
have no idea. She has no idea anything. I mean, that's why she's there. That's her chief qualification to be attorney general. She knows no fucking law. She's totally incompetent. She's totally inarticulate. She can't form thoughts in her mind, and she's the perfect person for them.
Yeah. That's the Department of Justice that we are talking about. I mean, it is just, you mentioned earlier, people sat there. I know I've said this before, but that's where Edward Levy sat, where Robert Jackson, where Robert Kennedy, where Elliot Richardson sat. I mean, it is, she has disgraced that building, that department, and of course,
As if they care.
yeah, they could care less, right?
Shit.
Right.
I mean, we're to them, we're about talking in outer space.
Right.
That's why she's there.
No,
It-
as I think you nailed it. It was a disgraceful performance, and I am sure, as you said, they were high-fiving at the White House last
I
night,
bet you
saying, "Pam, baby, you just nailed it."
life today.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God.